All right, welcome back to Clearwater Jazz Holidays, Young Lions Jazz Master Virtual Sessions. Man, oh man, it's Friday. We made it through another week together, and I am so thrilled to be back with our good friend Brandon Robertson, who's brought a special guest today on his second part topic of how to accompany a vocalist. We have Synia Carroll with us. Synia, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Thank you so much for being with us today. This is going to be second part of how to accompany a vocalist. It's a part 2 series. Brandon, how you doing?
I am blessed, feeling fantastic, and I'm super excited because we have Synia here, and I'm ooh.
All right, well, we're going to get into it in a second. Participants are muted for the courtesy of the session, but if there are questions, we'll use the chat feature, and I'll moderate those and get those to Brandon and Synia. Thank you so much to everybody who's been following along the evolution this year of the virtual adaptation of our Young Lions Jazz Master Sessions program. We have so many wonderful musicians and educators engaged with this, both near and far. And you, after these live sessions, you can see all of them archived in video form online in the what we call the studio resource, accessible through clearwaterjazz.com's education and outreach page. That's brought to you by Blue Water Wealth Management at Steward Partners and our new sponsor of that resource, Duke Energy. And then we have the Young Lions Jazz Master Virtual Sessions podcast, which is a wonderful, wonderful resource. You can listen to all these sessions and some other education programs we do. That's brought to you by our friends at Marine Max Clearwater. So Brandon is no stranger to Clearwater Jazz Holiday education and outreach. If you go to those resources, you're going to see a variety of different topics he's covered. Let me tell you about some of them. Where do I begin as a professional musician? Breathe, relax, focus, simple tools during performance. Raising the bar, preparing for performance. How to develop melodic bass lines, tempos and styles. How to develop endurance during a performance. Thinking like a horn player from a bass perspective, which was a great one. How to capture a big sound on bass. Playing duo performances. Creating new music composition and charts. Brandon's cracking me up right now. Accompanying a vocalist, part 1. Practicing for 2 hours a day, exclamation point. And now we're back for a second part of how to accompany a vocalist, part 2 with Synia Carroll and Brandon Robertson. Brandon is a Emmy-nominated music director, professional upright electric bassist, composer, music educator, originally from Tampa. He completed his Bachelor of Arts in Music from Florida State University in 2009 and a Master of Music and Jazz Studies in the spring of 2016. Currently, Brandon is the Director of Jazz Studies and Director of the FGCU basketball band at Florida Gulf Coast University in Fort Myers, Florida. He was nominated for an Emmy Award for Best Documentary for Educational Collegiate Programs featuring the FGCU Jazz Ensemble. He is a prominent band leader, just an incredible educator, so enthusiastic about this music, and we're really lucky to have him. Check out Based on a True Story, his newest release, BASS''D, Based on a True Story, which did awesome on the charts, and Brandon's holding it up now. It's really, really great. Synia Carroll's with us today. She's a vocalist that lives in the Sarasota area, huge music enthusiast, wonderful performer, and a colleague and friend of Brandon's, who Brandon has twisted her arm to get her to appear with us this morning. And she's going to share a little bit more with you today about this subject, but also about her experiences, background, love for this music, and we could not be more thrilled to have her. And Synia, if you could, if you could tell people how to get in touch with you or follow you, I think people would be interested in that as well. I know SyniaCarroll.com is a good place to start. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Brandon, to take it away. The stage is all yours.
As usual, Steve, thank you very, very much to the Clearwater Jazz Education Outreach, to the Jazz Holiday, to Al Down and Tampa Bay Jazz Association, everybody that's from the Bay Area that supports this cause, I am all for you all, and thank you. I show you nothing but gratitude and humbleness. Thank you, thank you. So, for everyone who's watching this currently, now, a while back, I did a session called How to Accompany a Vocalist. And what I talked about was just different key pointers of from an instrumentalist standpoint of what it's like to accompany a singer, what is your role as the accompanist, and what is expected of you. And so I was kind of discussing things from my perspective. When I say my perspective, not me as the individual, but my role as the individual in the band, which is the bass player. But then I said, I think it would make a lot more sense if I asked an actual vocalist these questions and have this dialogue with the vocalist, so for you all to hear feedback directly from someone who has to interact with my current roles, you know, being a rhythm section player and could be a horn, whoever's accompanied, but you can hear directly from the source. So today I asked my special guest, the lovely, the beautiful, the talented, that's an understatement there, she's like, right, Miss Synia Carroll. So Synia and I have worked together, and I remember the first time that I worked with her, we were at I think it was I don't know if it wasn't a retirement home. Was it a retirement home? I don't know what kind of
Mardi Gras kind of a situation. Mardi Gras, and I think it was probably a retirement.
Yeah, and I just remember she had this life about her. And let me say, rule number one, from an instrumentalist standpoint, it feels great when you walk into a space and you get hired to work with a singer. You've never met the singer before, you don't know who they are, and you walk in and you just see life. So immediately I was like, oh, this is gonna be a fun gig. So I wasn't worried. I was like, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. So one thing that Synia did very, very great, which I'll let her explain a little bit about it, but I'm gonna post her a little bit. She greeted the entire band. She introduced herself. She came and she said, hi, my name is Synia. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm looking forward to working with you. I can't tell you how many singers have not done that or don't do that with people that they work with. Because if it's somebody else that was contracted, or if it was someone else that contracted the band for that singer, the singer has no communication, right? So they're meeting this group of people for the first time. Wouldn't it make sense that you would want to introduce yourself and get to know them a little bit before you play with them? So when Synia did that, I was like, man, I really appreciate that she took the time to introduce herself. So that made me feel good. Like, I'm gonna play my best. I'm gonna give her my all, right? So Synia, here's what I like to ask you. First, I'm gonna backtrack a bit. How did you get into singing? What made you choose jazz as a genre that you wanted to explore? What was something that intrigued you about it?
I think jazz chose me. I didn't really choose jazz.
Okay.
And I say that, I mean, I do, but I say that it chose me because I've been singing since I was 4. You know how we are. We all sing. And I have loved singing all my life. I used to make up songs before I ever went to school or anything like that. But I was, I was highly influenced by my sister, my older sister, who's no longer with us. And she taught me how to play my guitar over there, and because she played guitar, and I used to follow her musical taste. So it was kind of weird because my sister was into folk music. We were in North Philly, and I was listening to folk music because my sister was, so I was. So it was like Gordon Lightfoot and Phil Oakes and Bob Dylan and Joan Baez. And that was like the foundation of me singing, kind of. And then, the Beatles and some R&B later on with the radio. And so it's like, that's what I did. I played guitar all through high school. I played guitar all through college. I used to play every day. I don't play anymore, but I used to play every day. Anyway, at some point, I started doing, later after college, I got involved with a group where it was like world beat music. So it had a variety of like soca, and I had majored in Spanish. So we did Spanish music. So we had salsa, and we had, the African thing came in, like African high life and West Africans. So we listened to Fela and that kind of stuff. And that began to really enhance my musical experience and sensibility and vocabulary. So that really that sort of began changing things. But jazz was not a thing I felt an attraction for because I didn't understand it. I hadn't had a lot of exposure. So I thought when I listened to Diodato or what was the other guy? Oh my gosh. Like a person like Diodato, that was heavy, that's hardcore. Stanley Turrentine, yeah, Hubert Laws, whoa, I must be digging in deep now. So that was about as close as I got, more like a, I guess you call it smooth jazz kind of thing, which was great. I loved it. And I still do. But anyway, when I came to Sarasota, several years ago, I had been teaching, and I had basically been singing in the classroom with my guitar and I was teaching Spanish and doing all that stuff. So then I came here, no longer teaching, and I'm like, well, I want to sing. I don't know what, but I want to sing. So I kept thinking I'd go down to Siesta Key and work in one of those little restaurants and play that, something silly. And it didn't work out that way. For the first time I went to a jam. It was a blues jam. I was terrified because I'd never gone to a jam before. I was always too scared because I thought I wouldn't be as good as other people and the people would judge me and that flow. So I went to a blues jam and it was blues. And blues is great. And what I totally respect, a good blues singer, hats off, because that is some serious singing. It's from the heart and soul. And it's also it's very physical. You got to have a certain going to make it work as well as you might want to. So
right. I
didn't really have that. I tried, but somebody was there and they said, "Hey, you should check out the jazz jam." I said, "Really? I only know 2 jazz songs. I knew Around Midnight and God Bless a Child. Oh, and Summertime. Those are my 3 jazz songs. 6 years ago, that was it." And so I went, and I had learned Round Midnight when I was teaching theater at a school, and we did a musical production, and the woman asked me to learn Round Midnight, so I did. I didn't know it was a hard song. I learned it, and I sang it. It was great. I did the song with this band, and it worked. That's when people said, "Yeah, you should do this." And it hit me. I got it, just doing it and seeing a response and hearing myself with a real combo, which I'd never done before. I was like, whoa, this is powerful. This touches something. It's like tickling something deep inside. And so from then on, I started going to the jams every week, learning new songs every week. I actually had to get over my fear of not being able to memorize lyrics. But, so that was like the whole thing. I can't believe I knew 3 songs and now I know, I don't know how many. So I proved a lot to myself. Like an old dog can learn new tricks if you are inspired and you have the motivation and the reason to do it. And then the love, the passion.
Well, then, what gets me going when I deal with singers is I always think about, what is their background and what are they thinking about? Like, what kind of person are they? Am I hearing the singer, or am I just hearing the individual who's trying to sing? Because that's 2 different styles of singing. Like, someone who's trying to sing and get a point across sounds different than somebody who's singing and they're actually in it, right? So what are some of the things that you look for when you are booking a band? Like, what are some of the things that you as a vocalist want in your band, like in terms of like the instrumentalists?
Okay, and I'm just going to piggyback a tiny bit real fast what you just said about singing, wanting to sing or singing. I think most of my life I was wanting to sing. I was a singer who wanted to sing until, whatever. Somewhere along the line, I also got involved in storytelling and theater. And that when I brought storytelling and theater to my singing, everything changed. And what happened with jazz, I don't know really what happened, but it's like I walked into a room where I wasn't afraid and I wasn't thinking and I wasn't trying to sing. I was just letting the music come through me. And that's what used to happen with storytelling. The story comes through me. And with jazz in particular, and probably with music now in general, I don't know, but definitely jazz, it comes through me and it's not about me anymore. And that is amazing. When I look for a band who feels that way. Okay. First of all, you got to have skills. Everybody's got to be able to read. They have to be able to solo and feel comfortable about that. They need to be able to read so that they can do different keys if you need to make a shift or whatever. If I'm going to do a band, work with a band now, they have to be flexible. Like if I've been blessed. I've met the most amazing musicians here, and they have all been my teachers. And anything I do well is because of them, because they taught me and they say, hey, you better do this, because I did not want to be a chick singer. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I never wanted to be a chick singer. So I did whatever I needed to do not to be that. So I think for me, where I am now, because I have all these backgrounds in my music, is not just straight ahead standard, beautiful sounding jazz. I actually want this substance. I want this nugget of the African rhythm or the Caribbean kind of thing coming through. It's just because it's a part of me. And, as a Spanish major, that's a part of me too. So I want this to come through. And so I need musicians who can understand that. And when it's time for us to bring that kind of sensibility into the music, that they can do that. And that's harder because a lot of folks they do what they do, and that's fine because they're excellent at what they do. But I think where I'm growing now is that I want folks who can do a little bit even more than that. So that's a little tricky, but it's good. It's good. It's growth. And that's what it's all about. They have to be, if I'm looking for a group, I'd like them to be familiar with each other and work well together as a unit. Like sometimes you can get some people who don't know each other and they might have an attitude. Somebody may not like somebody, and then that creates a friction in the field. I don't want that. So I want folks who, even if they don't love each other, that they love the music and they love what they can create together, that they respect that and they can come to that regardless of whatever else might be happening. And are they playing for money or are they playing for music? Usually we're playing for a combination because, we need some money. But
yeah, money. You got these kids.
Exactly. I get that. But you know what it is? I came into this later in life, okay? And I gave up a really good well-paying teaching job up in Connecticut to come down to Sarasota and not teach and not have the money or anything. But when I found the music, or when the music found me, it just lit every fire I have. I'm like, sometimes, they say, what is this? You're like crazy. I say, I am crazy because I love this. I'm like born again. And for you to be the only one up there or with a group of guys who's feeling excited about something musical, that's kind of a drag. It's kind of lonely, and you realize how much you could fly if you're all there together. It's like you get on this magic carpet and you just zoom go and you bring everybody else with you. So the audience is going, the musicians are going, the universe is going. It is an amazing journey. So that's what I look for. If when it's possible, I try to choose people who I know we can create the magic carpet and we can get on it and we can grab folks along the way and we can fly.
So what do you do in a situation when you don't have that? If you got called to do it, if you got called to play in somebody else's gig as a singer and you showed up and it was with a group of musicians who that was the first time they ever met, and then you was dealing with issues like that, like how do you adjust to those things?
Well, I just try to, kill them with love. Like in other words, you want to. I try to do what I do to make the people, whoever I'm working with, like as a teacher, it's the same kind of thing because I had a captive audience, right? So I had to make these kids fall in love with some aspect of what we're doing. So if it just means smiling and being nice and being warm and being, accommodating, to a certain degree, whatever I can do to help create a comfortable place on stage, great. The other thing that's going to definitely happen is the audience. I don't know what it is with me and audiences, but I love them. And I love the energy that they bring and that they give. I love creating a bridge between myself, the music, and them. I love to have that circular breathing kind of thing happening for the duration of that performance. I love that audience to leave that room feeling like something has shifted for the better inside on a spiritual and emotional, and maybe even a physical level. So and I think I'm pretty sure that sometimes when musicians who've been like, a little funky, maybe a little like, okay, here we go again. I think when they see that happen, because I think they see it and they feel it too, because that's why they were in music in the first place. I think it surprises them, but it inspires them. I think it touches them as well. And that's what it's about. It's about touching, inspiring, and creating bridges.
You know, I wanted to ask too, as a singer, how picky are you about your gig etiquette? So like with the band, like, are there things that you just will never tolerate, but then are there things that you might let slide? You know, that's a fair question as a singer, because as an instrumentalist, like, here's my etiquette from an instrumentalist. Singers, please make sure that you warm your voice up before you start to sing. Don't go on stage super cold and it's like, I'm just gonna go for it, and you start cracking your first 5 notes.
Yeah, you've
already lost, and now the band has to make up for that. Do you know how much extra work that is for us to have to make up for that lack of that's just the etiquette. Another etiquette, introduce the band, like, acknowledge us. We are the ones that's helping you sound good. No offense, but acknowledge the band. Like, I can't tell you how many gigs I've been on with singers and they don't acknowledge the band. And I'm like, no, I mean, the entire gig, they don't say nothing about the band. I'm like, so we just up here, and then you're gonna be late, and then you're gonna be late on paying me. It's a double whammy. Come on. So Synia, what's your etiquette? Just very briefly, what's some etiquette?
Okay, real brief. People have to be dressed appropriately, and I like to dress up. You know, like, I like to look good, because for me, if people are coming to a show, it's something special. I want them to feel like I think they're special. So we always get dressed up and look nice for something that we consider to be special. So if I'm with you, I want to be special. I want the guys to be kind of nice looking too. You know, I want them to, like, I want to be looking at them and saying, yeah, I got these fine. You know, so that's what I ideally like. I like them to be punctual. They got to be on time. My God, have to be, because I am, believe me, it is hard for me to be on time.
Say it for the people in the back.
Yep. Oh. It does. Oh. So they got to be on time. They got to have the instruments. You know, they need to have all the stuff they need. Like, if they need to have a light, they got to have a light. Okay, maybe at this point, I have a light in my bag, so if somebody really doesn't have a light, I will have a light. If we're outside, have the clips. You know, always have extra clips from yourself and everybody else. So you got to take care of people, so you do, because things happen. Let me see what else. Oh, do not. I have not had this problem really well, not too much, with drinking or stuff. You know, folks, like, some people will drink on the gig and they will get kind of sloppy. Bad way to get my respect. I can feel it goes, it's not good. So, and there's no reason for that. I won't do it. So we can't. And I can tell you about some stories of making mistakes, like, even, but I'll tell you maybe later for your time. Yeah, I made some dependable. You got to be dependable. You got to have energy. Oh my God. You know, because I've had a lot of things videotaped, right? So when you have a band back there and everybody's playing like this, it's like, and they're dead. It's like, so I'm like, and they're like, it's like, whoa. It's clear. It's clear that there's a lack of energy, and I'm working harder, like you said, to overcome this void of just like dead zone here. So there's got to be a joy and an enthusiasm that you grab from that music. Just, you know, even if you played it 50 times, you know, for me, it might only be 50 times. For you, it might be 500. I get that, because I'm young in this whole thing. But still, you know, if you've lost the joy in the verb, okay, but you're not going to be my first choice.
Right.
So I think that's it. You know, those are basically the thing, and the things, you know, I think that's it. Yeah.
And what about, do you provide instrumentalists with keys to your songs, or do you tell them to figure it out on their own? I'm just curious.
Oh gosh, I learned that with the jam sessions. God bless these guys. They all told me. I learned, bring your daggone chart, even for a jam. Just have a chart ready. Yeah, they might have it, but you have a chart in case they don't. Know your keys. You think it's so hard to know your keys. It's not that hard. Just get iReal Pro. You can always figure out your keys. If you play, I don't play piano. I don't play keys. I'm learning some stuff because I'm doing more recording now, and it's a handicap, and I'm sick of it. So, but you have to know how to get your keys at home, either with somebody through iReal Pro. If you play, even better, do it. You need to know, you need to have I like to bring a book for the guys. So everybody should have their own book. I used to actually bring it in a binder. They said, I learned over time that, no, the binder's a nice idea, and the little folder, little plastics, things are fine. However, why don't you just put it in a folder so they can take it out and do it, use it as they need to use it. But have it in order and have it all set. If you have a thing that's like a concert, you have everything in order. So what else do you gotta have? You have horns, have your B-flat charts, okay? It's nice if you can bring them the B-flat charts so they don't have to do that as well.
Transposed charts, I like that. The vocalists that are watching this, make sure you transpose your charts for the different instruments that are accompany you. Yes.
It just makes it easier, and it's really not that hard to do. It's a big deal to do that, so if I can do it, anybody can do it. Anything else with that? Sometimes if it's a special occasion, there's not a lot of bread, then I'm going to have to make some cookies. So I will make homemade cookies and bring them in.
Well, here's the one thing that I want to wrap up real quickly. And so when you talk about who do you lean towards? Who should a vocalist lean towards in terms of relying on harmony, and like if someone got, like, if the vocalist got lost, like, who should they lean towards to figure out, like, okay, what's happening? Not that they should be lost, I'm not encouraging that, but
yeah, that's your job, is to know song form and to have that in your head. You got to know your forms, and if you don't know them, you work on that. You tape yourself, because that's how you learn about where you mess up and where you do well. I listen to the piano, because that's usually how I'll rehearse with first and foremost. Like I'll share the chart with the keyboard player, and we'll have gone over some aspect of it perhaps. But because they're going to be playing the chords, they're easiest. I also find myself listening a lot to the bass, because the bass gives that root, and that'll bring you in when that'll help a lot. So those two, I guess, the keys and the bass are what kind of keep me afloat.
And lastly, just as some advice that you can give to future young, inspiring vocalists, male or females, what advice would you give them, or suggestions that you think they can work on, technique-wise, literature? Like, what are some things that help you learn songs faster, memorize? Like you said, like, there was a crutch for a while of memorizing lyrics, but now you've overcome that. So what are some things that you can give, or advice you can give to the future audience who are watching this?
Oh gosh, for all you guys out there who are like me, listen. That's one of the biggest things. I would say that was the biggest journey. Listen and tape yourself. Yeah, always tape yourself. Like I said, I because I didn't always have a band around me, and since I don't actually play, and I'm sure most of you do, which is a good thing, I would, play tunes on iReal. I'd listen, then I play them on iReal Pro. I could just have them record, just play the accompaniment, and I'd sing to that, and I'd tape it, okay? And I tape gigs. Oh gosh, you got these phones, you can tape everything. And I tape everything, because I will hear, like, one thing I learned once I was playing with a bass. Remember Billy Pulicheri?
Yeah. Oh, rest in peace, Billy. Yeah.
Man, I miss Billy. He taught me. I learned something beautiful with him. We're doing, forget the tune right now off my head, but he was doing. I was going to do a little scat thing, and you have to try things. You've got to be willing to fall on your face because it's only by falling that you can get back up and learn something. You get stronger and stronger and stronger. If you never try something different, and if you let fear hold you back, you'll never get anywhere. I used to be afraid to sing at a jam at all, and I just started jumping off the cliff, jumping off the cliff, jumping off the cliff. And I found that I didn't die. I would come back again, and I'd be a little better the next time, and I could hear myself learning. And other people could hear me learning. So with Billy, he played a solo. He started playing a solo. I pointed to him that we could do the solo together. I had no idea how this would be. I'd never done it. So he starts playing, and I'm listening real closely. And because of how he tuned his bass, is very like a cello, so it's much more melodic. And I did a solo behind what he did. So we were listening, and we were weaving it like this. And it was the most beautiful thing I had ever done. It was like, are you ready? It was like kissing somebody for the first time. When you really don't take anything for granted, and everything is fresh and new, and it's all spontaneous. That's what music needs to be. And so I would say, whatever you can do to have those kinds of experiences musically, you should do that. Talk to musicians. Ask them, well, what's good to read? I'm going to have brain farts now because I didn't think about this question. This is one I should have thought about. But YouTube, there's so much to look at and listen to. I use Spotify a lot. I discover a lot of folks and people and songs and whatnot on Spotify. As if you use Apple Music, just explore, keep on delving deeper, and that's what I can say off the cuff. I mean, I know there's more. Oh, get a coach. If you're a vocalist, get a coach, because you can always be better. Don't ever assume that you all like that. It's all about growing more into your potential. And you're not going to be done until you stop breathing. And maybe you won't be done then.
Right.
You got stuff to do. It's never over. And feel the joy. The joy and the motivation, that is what carries me. That's what makes you want to keep doing it. It's that beautiful. I mean, nothing does it like music. Nothing. It's the most amazing language and gift that we have as humans, I think. And it's celebrated every time when you get on. Whenever you sing, know you're celebrating your breath and your story, other people's stories, building bridges, touching people, being touched. It's so human.
Well, Synia, thank you for that sum up, and I want to leave with this last piece of information to this future audience. Always know that you could always account money for anything. Money will always be there. Money's gonna come and go, but that love of music, once it's gone, it's hard to retrieve that back, because it's very attuned to like who you are as a person. So when we perform, especially when you're accompanying a singer, there's a different sensitivity that you have to present behind the singer, because the singer is using their voice. That is the most sensitive instrument out of all of the classifications that we categorized for music. And so I have to be sensitive to that voice. I have to be sensitive to their sound, their tonality, and I have to make sure that like you was explaining, Synia, the example you gave with you and Billy, how that synergy and that intertwining has to be in sync together, the yin and the yang, otherwise it's completely off. And so if you're a vocalist, be encouraged to surround yourself with like-minded musicians that you want to become. So surround yourself with other musicians, like Synia said, that are potentially, are more seasoned. I don't like to use the word better than you, because people take that better as, it sucks. No, just a little more seasoned, someone who has a little more under their belt and they're a lot more refined. So you could take elements from that and apply it to what you want to do. So if you're a vocalist that hears your favorite local singer, ask them, how are you doing this? Can you show me some things or tell me what I need to do? I do that all the time with instrumentalists, local musicians here. Dan Miller, and I pick Dan's brain so much, it's ridiculous. And Dan is somebody who would consider me, and not only as a friend but as a colleague, a bandmate, equally. So he asked me for stuff, and I'm like, dude, you're way more experienced than me. But it's the camaraderie and the respect that we have for each other as musicians and as people. So you have to respect, the person first, whoever you accompany, and get to know that person. So even if it's for the first time, still take the time to know them. So I just want to leave you with that piece of information, is you guys are still making music. So it's not about like I'm doing a show. You're making the music. So always keep the music centered. Make that your core. Okay. Oh, yes, not.
One tiny, this is important for musicians. If you, especially with jazz and standards and things that lyrics to, be aware. I think the best playing comes when people know the story that was part of the music when it was being created. And if there are lyrics to a song, you can just bam that song out, but you might miss the whole sensibility of what the lyrics were trying to communicate. The story has now been completely erased, and maybe you have all this music there, but you've lost the nuances and the valleys and the peaks and lows and all that kind of thing. So, be aware of lyrics, because singers will be singing the lyric. And if you don't know the lyrics, when they go, you might be still banging it out, but they just, diminish their tone to get really intimate. And you're like still acting like it's something else. It's like, no, man, you didn't know the lyrics of the song. That can be important.
That's know the lyrics. That's very important for instrumentalists too. So thank you, Synia. Thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you guys again for having us. I think this was a very grateful and useful session, especially for vocalists who have those uncertainty questions for instrumentalists that they might be afraid to ask. I just answered them for you, so I got you. Don't worry. Took care of it.
Yeah, man. Boy, wow. I always feel so good after these. You know what I mean, Brandon?
I do.
It's great. It's a nice way to kick off the weekend. And, it was a little bit emotional. Synia brought up Billy. And Billy, Billy was a really special part of our family, and our outreach that we do. He would just absolutely love the things we're doing now and how we've adapted this year with these sessions and some of the other things. He was one of the original members, or very soon thereafter, of the History of Jazz outreach program that we do in the school system. And with Billy, he was there for that whole ride. We by the time he had passed, we had reached probably 30,000 students in the Bay Area and beyond with that program. He also started working with our My Journey with Jazz program in the neighborhood family centers. And he would oftentimes say to me how much he just absolutely loved working in the community in that way. And sort of the legacy, being part of celebrating the music and the art form, and really cool. I was honored to have an opportunity to speak at a celebration of life that he did and talk about that. And so anyway, I just wanted to comment how much we've also missed Billy and think about him a lot. And I know he's smiling down somewhere, all these things we're doing. It also really inspiring talk today. Synia, it was so lovely to have you for the first time with us. I hope it's not the last time. I know why Brandon invited you. I could see it in the first few moments that you spoke about it. It's very clear you have an incredible passion for music, and we're grateful for you being part of this. So for those that are following along, Brandon's going to be back with us on December 4th with a topic called Know Your Worth, Negotiating the Gig, which is going to be an important one. But before then and after then, we have these sessions scheduled well into December. We started a new kind of fun series with it, more recently called the What I Love About series, and people are talking about musicians specific to their instrument. So for instance, Austin Vickery is doing a What I Love About series. He's already covered Charlie Parker and Paul Desmond, and he's got some other fun ones coming up. And John O'Leary and Mark Feynman are going to be involved in that particular project as well. And you can, for deeper dives, you can check out our Stop Time series with Frank Williams, and that's a wonderful way of learning about people and places who have contributed to the art form over time, and these wonderful little nuggets, video and audio, told in Frank's one-of-a-kind style, and starting with Civil War era influences and going through present day, and a lot going on. So by listening and watching, you are a special part of that, and certainly Brandon and Synia are a special part of these Young Lions Jazz Master virtual sessions, and we love that. So on behalf of the Clearwater Jazz Holiday Foundation, Brandon, Synia, thank you. To everyone who is following along and watching today, or will be watching and listening in the future, thanks for being a special part of this as well. We hope you're finding good value in it, and stay safe out there, be well, keep playing, keep singing, and as Synia would say, and keep listening, and we'll see you all soon.
All right, guys, take care. Have a good one.